Hello, it's Vicki Leroux from Modern Jewelry Creators. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a different video I'm pretty excited about. My longtime customers know and can recognize what's happening here a little bit. I am making some new palettes, and I have been mixing beads and making different color palettes and color stories for, I don't know, well over like 25 years, let's say. Started back in probably 2011-ish. In fact, a couple of videos back, I showed a customer of mine, a longtime customer of mine, had some of my original palette jars, right, that I showed. And this is a sample I showed. It's the only sample I have remaining, but it was one of the color stories called, this one's called Garden Paradise. And, right, but I would make these beautiful mixes. This was one jar of gemstones and freshwater pearls and crystals that are all about 8 millimeters and larger in various shapes and sizes. All from, I started it after about a decade of going to India and having so many leftover gemstones from different projects and things, and so and pearls, and I mean, just we started mixing them by colors, and then I put them in jars, and so this is one of my like original ones, and so it was lovely to share some of those, and it's one of the last couple of videos. But probably about, I made those larger ones, we call them professional palettes, 2011-ish to like 2015, let's say. About 2016, I started making smaller versions with still gemstones and pearls, but just smaller ones. So instead of the 8 millimeter, I would do like 6 millimeter. Let me get a white background. Like 6 millimeter and smaller. So this is our southwest sunset. Moving the lights a little bit. Right, that's just a mixture of turquoise and coral and carnelian and citrine and lots of beautiful pearls and malachite and stuff. Right, so that's a lovely mix. And just definitely one of the long time, whoops, let me use the light again, ones I've had for a long time. And besides that mix, I would also make a crystal color mix that would match it. So like they're like a crystal accent mix. So you could purchase these on your own or in addition to the precious palette to kind of give it more mileage. I always say to kind of extend the length of it in all the same colors. And these are 300 crystals, 4 millimeter and smaller, and it's a mixture of Swarovski bicones, rounds, and cubes, Czech fire polish, and Chinese rondelles and bicones, all in a lovely little color story. And I would make the little samples, the strands, to kind of show the color story and give an idea of how many beads were in there. Here's just a finished sample of the southwest sunset one, right, with all the beautiful beads on there. This was another one, and this was only, this is our hidden gems bracelet. This only takes about a half the palette, maybe, right, which is so just smaller gemstones. This has aquamarine and ametrine and peridot. Sorry, microphone fell. And it makes a beautiful bracelet, but I always like to show how you can make it a necklace too by just attaching chains on the end like that. It's very pretty. And so I like to show like different samples of things you can make with them, and that's that very same palette, but as a wire wrapped necklace, right, in gold, and that one bracelets in silver. And making a mess just throwing it. This is our Happy Holidays precious palette with garnets and aventurine and moonstone and pink tourmaline, and then here's her crystal accent, right, same colors but the little crystal mix. And like I said, I like to make the little samples like this to show the color story, but also to give customers an idea of how many beads are in there, because when you're looking at the vial, and I tell you it's 300, but so this is one jar, and you can wear it as a layered necklace or this little wrap bracelet, and there's an option to even add on this little kit when you purchase the different mixes. But so over all these years, the mixes palettes change all the time. They're mostly limited to what I have on hand, and then when they're sold out, they're sold out. Now, a couple years ago, I decided to do 4 color stories to keep in stock, try to keep in stock all the time, just called our classic mixes of these 4. And it's a black diamond, blue lilac, rose opal, and cognac, and something. It'll come to me. Someone else will know. Champagne and cognac, sorry. So I try to carry those 4 colors all the time. And same thing. We'll make a little sample of it to show the color story. And there's the 300 beads in there. And I try to have anywhere between 35 and 50 different beads. Most of the time lately, there's been at least 50 different beads in each palette to just make the different, create the different shades, and create the really special mixes, I would say. And a recent one I did for the holidays was this little larger one we called Magical Season, and it's just a lot of jewel tones. So it's definitely not only a holiday palette, but I just wanted to do something kind of different for the holidays, and I think it's really lovely. It can be worn all year. But besides the smaller beads, there's also 50 larger crystals in there. So it's a big. That's why it's a bigger jar. And here's a little sample of it with the larger beads in there. There's 300 of the other crystals, and then 50 of the larger crystals. And so this is much longer because all the additional crystals in it, but it's really pretty. I like the way it looks with the larger crystals in there. And this is about 4 feet, and really allows you to kind of double it and layer it up with some chains or what have you. Anyway, so I'm thinking I'm going to do that again with these new palettes I'm going to show you here. Every year for I don't know how long, at least the last decade or so, Pantone comes out with their color of the year, and I've tried to make a palette to go with it as much as I can. Sorry, I'm trying to get this back where it goes. So I made a little handout here. Pantone's color of the year for 2024 is called Peach Fuzz, and I grabbed some pictures off the internet, and it's right down the middle there, the Pantone colors here at the bottom. I think it's a lovely color. I don't love the name. I'm not going to call our palette Peach Fuzz, but it's very much, and I really tried to make sure all these colors were true to color when I printed it. It's more pinky peach, and even more muted or more soft. And so I have a mix here I'm going to show you that we're just getting started. And I'm not going to call mine Peach Fuzz. I think we're going to call it Bellini and Bling. Bellini's and Cream. Bellini's at brunch. Bellini's at the beach. Bellini Dreams. Something like that. Something with alcohol. And then I have another one, and then I typically like to look at the other colors. So they have their color of the year, and then they do other colors to go with it, like our trending colors, which are these ones on the left, and then what they call their neutrals on the right for the year. And so I do the color of the year, and then I try to make another mix out of some of the other colors, and I've done that as well. So when I've shown these palettes, I've gotten a few comments about, can I show how I make it, or teach how I make it? Excuse me. I cannot teach how I make them. Believe me, I've tried. It's not just not something I can teach, but I can. But I think I've worked out a good way to show you at least how I get started with the palettes, and I might end up like doing this is a part 1 and then a part 2 with the finished product and a sample of it. Again, it's not something I'm not gatekeeping. I share everything on this channel that I can. I'm happy to teach everything I can. It's like, all I could think of, it's like a chef making like a soup from scratch for the first time. And so I don't know what it's going to look like. In the end, I don't know what's going to happen. I just pulled colors that I think are going to work in my color story, and I'm going to start throwing them in and adjusting the ratios as I go, and see where we go with it, right? And I understand. I really get how people think I want to watch that, but I promise you don't. I promise it would be so incredibly boring to watch me cut apart strands and mix beads in and take beads out. And besides it takes hours of time. This took hours and hours yesterday, like 4, just to pull the strands. So it's a long process. I also can't imagine having to create these on camera, like on demand, which, talk about ruining the creative flow. So in lieu of that, I think I've found a good compromise that I'm excited to share the beads that I'm pretty sure I'm going to use. We haven't made it yet. And at least you can get an idea of what's going to go in them. And I'm hoping to launch these palettes for Mother's Day on Sunday. And if you're not on our mailing list, I'll leave a link below. You can go to the website and sign up. So our customers, our longtime customers, people on mailing lists will get notification first when they're ready to go. Because I always have very limited amount, right? This is it. So I have some backstock of these colors, but not a lot. So I don't know. I'll probably get 15 out of this, maybe a little more out of that one, and that's all there'll be. And the jars are about $20. The bigger ones, if I do that bigger size, they'll be a little more, like $24, which it's a great deal. I always try to explain to folks that, here's our strands of beads that cost $6 a strand, and there's about 100 beads on a strand, give or take, depending on the size. You're going to get 300 beads in here in 50 different colors for the equivalent of the cost of 3 strands, where you would only get 3 colors. If you spent, $18, you get 3 colors instead of 50 for the same amount, and I did all the work. So I think it's a really good value on top of that. And then you could add on the kits, the little stringing kit if you wanted to do that, and the other little multi-strand kit. Here, there'll be pictures of it, and a little dancing charms kit as well. I did this last time too, which I think is really, really, really cute, that you can easily do with the palette with. So there's different kits you could add on to make with your palette. Okay. So I've separated them into the main crystal mix, which, like I said, is 4mm and smaller, and then I've made a larger mix of the 6 and 8. Now, this is the second time I filmed this, and what I was typically going to do is just show the colors and put them in the bucket, but it makes noise on the microphone. So I think I'm going to lay them out. So let's try that. And maybe that way you can see them better as well. I did go through here. I pull the colors I think I'm going to use. I keep all my crystals in trays by size. And then, so that's one way. And then after I've used them, and there's half a strand left or something, I put them in baggies like this. And then those are kept in another bucket by size. So I first go through the strands, and then I go through the bucket to pull out to use anything that's already opened or cut. And so I pulled out those, and then I went through it all to make sure there's not duplicates. So I pulled out duplicates because between the two there could be more than that, more of just one strand, right? So I pulled out the dupes so that you can know these are all different colors. Is my whole point. So I'm going to try to be more quiet as I pull them out. Oh, keep it on camera. And if it's still a little loud, I really apologize. Who would think beads are so noisy? Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, and obviously the ratios are going to be different, right? I mean, completely adjust that as we go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and mix it so we can see the colors. 15. These are not the same, FYI. I know they can look really similar because they are the same shape and size, but they're not the same color, right? One's more ivory and one's more cream, right? And yes, they're close, but that's the point. That's really important when mixing these palettes. That's what makes the palettes work so beautifully, is almost think of like an ombre effect, like hitting as many shades as possible, right? Even in our little black diamond mix, which is basically black and gray and clear or white, but it's not those 3 colors, right? There's like 40 different colors in here of every shade of grays and hematites and crystal and opal and white and thing. That's what makes the palette work. So anyway, that was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, oops, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, let's make sure I have all the strands, 32, 33, 34, sorry, I'm taking, make sure my arm's out of the way, 35, 36, 37, what a mess. Then I have my little eggs. Let me get my bucket. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. Okay, quietly cooking while I'm here. So that's going to be where we go. I don't know what the ratio is going to be or anything. That's part of the magic of adjusting it, as I go to get to a beautiful mix. But that is over 50 colors in that one. And then for there's one more. So it's like 55. It's 55 different beads. I mean, it's amazing. Okay. Then for our larger, like, bonus mix, whatever we want to call it, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, try to be quiet, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, and our little bags, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So there's only like 50 of this mix, so that's plenty of different colors for this mix. Here's even the opals right there. Hopefully you can see how they're different. One is opaque and one's more transparent as an opal. Right? So again, it's all the different subtle shades that make the palette work. So I think she's going to be really pretty. I'm excited to see how it turns out. Our little bleeny lady. The other colors I started to play with. Oh, here's one more. on here, since the Bellini one, we'll keep it out, was kind of softer colors, decided to pick up more of the brighter ones. I was going to do this Capri. They're calling this mint. It looks more Kelly or even teal to me, but okay. The Capri, the mint, and maybe the chambray. I started mixing them. It reminded me of a palette that I did, one of the first ones I had called Island Breeze, that was similar colors but with a little bit of yellow. And so I started that palette, and then I add just a bit of yellow to it. So I'm really excited to make her. I'm going to change these around. I think it's going to be so pretty. I understand that, like, you can look at these and go, wow, that is so summertime in the Caribbean kind of thing. Not that I would know what that's like, but we're going to do colors, but a little more subtle. The color story, but not so in your face, right? Wearable. All right, look how pretty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so pretty, 8, 9, 10. And when I say yellow, I don't mean like banana yellow. I mean like super soft yellow. Like, look at this. Swarovski has a color called Jonquil, right? That's just like a buttercup, yummy, like soft yellow, like this, right? So it's very subtle in the palette, right? So pretty. That was 11. I can't remember. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. How pretty. And like even the two magic greens, they're different, I promise. I mean, not that anyone's gonna argue with me, but I mean, I promise they're different colors. This one has a complete a coating, a complete coating around the whole thing. This one has a half coating, right? You've seen a half Aurora Borealis when they only use it on half the bead, right? That's what the top one is. The bottom one is a complete covered bead. So they'll make a different effect. So that was 33, and then we have our little bags, 34. Oh no, that was 35, sorry. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, what color? 60, 61, 62. So there's 62. That's going to be so pretty, right? So there might be like a few in each of these bags, but that's what I have left over from other projects, and so they're going to go in here. That we're not going to use much of that, but that is this color story. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. And then here's our larger one. There's 1, 2. There's that lovely yellow. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I like to mix things. 14, 15, 16. It's so pretty. 16, and then our strands, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So again, the bigger beads are, only going to make a smaller part of it, so we don't need as many, but it's still almost 30 different beads that are going to go, and there's only 50 extra of this bead in it. But I think it's going to be so pretty. So I think they're both going to be gorgeous. So this was part 1. Thanks for hanging out. And it's always fun for me to make these mixes and see how they turn out. So like I said, this will be a part 1, and then I'll film a part 2 with a completed palette, and as well as a sample done of that color mix of each one as well. Hopefully in time for Mother's Day for this weekend for you to order it. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. And some of these are still on the website, right? We can always carry that one, and I think I have a couple of those palettes left too, but there's a link below. So subscribe to the channel if you're not already, like the video, leave a comment, do all the things. I appreciate you watching my ramblings on so very much. So thank you again, and until next time, sparkle brightly like the star that you are. Mwah! Peace.